Hi, welcome to this CineRender surface material series. My name is Carsten MD from ASM TechBase. Please subscribe to my channel and make sure you ring the bell option here like all, so you get all the latest video notifications, all my tutorial, so you won't miss out on anything. And one more thing, on my website, join the ASM TechBase email list for newsletters and future updates. Hi, welcome to the CineRender surface material part 5, which is reflection. So reflections is quite a large channel. I must say this is the biggest one. And what I would like to show you is, because there's so many options, I like to just get into the options we really need for architectural visualizations. Like, you know, reflection of the glass or floor, how to do a metal reflections. This type is just stuff we will use in our architectural design. So let's get started. I have some material here. I called it ASM TechBase Reflection Ball. At the moment, the ball and the cube has the same material applied. I will later change this a bit to show you some different options. Okay, I got a color, just slightly gray. And all you have to do now is you click reflection. So you add the reflection channel on top, and we go down to layer and we add our reflection. Now, as I mentioned before, there's lots of different reflection options already if you just look at this one. I use a lot of the Beckmann Reflection. It's one of the fastest one and most realistic one. But obviously there's other ones which I'll show you later, like the wood or anisotropic. They're more for metal reflection as example. So let's start off with the Beckmann. And you can see it adds another layer. So if you go over to this layer here and you open it, this layer down here is the Beckmann layer. You can also click over here to open it. And as you can see with the option, that's what I said before, there's a lot of options here. So let's just start and get through some of the most important ones. Close this and we just render this up. So I haven't done anything to it. All I did is add this Beckmann reflection option. As you can see, this option without doing anything, it pretty much reacts like a mirror. You can see all the surfaces are totally mirrored. The cube one, see the brick, concrete floor, and here you can see brick concrete floor, and you see at the back I've got a sky, the sun, so everything is nicely reflected at 100%. If we go back now and we start changing some settings, we'll see what happens. Now the blend mode, the moment I keep it at normal, and we got the amount here, so let's just change the amount from, let's say, 100 and put this down to 50. Okay, you can see now there's only 50%. So what happened is the color of the light, slightly gray color, starts to shine through. Let's have a look if I do this red. There you go. Okay, so this obviously shows me like 50% of my red color, and it shows me 50% of the Beckmann reflection amount. So for now, I want to go back and put this to 100%. Because I want to show you some of those options down here before we go any further. Let's start with reflection strength. It's actually interesting, they got two options. So this already did the strength, but what happened with this one is, because I reduced this, yes, the reflection strength is reduced, but the blend mode comes into consideration. That means, as I explained, I had 50% reflection and 50% color. In reality, the actual reflection is still 100%, but this is the mixing of color and reflection. So that's the main difference. That's why you think, oh, there's another reflection strength. So that's the difference. So if I go and change this here now, let's go down to roughly 50. See, so what happened is the red doesn't shine through. Look, I kept it on red, but I go back here, reflection strength, just as here I changed it to 50. So this is the actual strength reduced by 50, and the color is not coming through because this is not blended in. Okay, so that's very important to start with, to understand the difference between those two settings. I'll leave the reflection strength at 50 for now. So if I render this, it should look darker. Let's have a quick go. It's always important sometimes. I know it's nice to see the little ball, but depending on your environment, you still want to have a quick test render and see if you're happy with the material you want to produce. Alright, stop that here. So what's the difference between, it seems almost to look the same, fully 100% reflective. The difference is it's got darker because it does reflect less. Even if you think, oh, it looks almost 100% reflective, but it's only 50% reflective. It shows still quite a lot of reflection. So that's why. So if you put this on 0, this will be very dark and there's no reflection. Which we already don't do, because that's the whole point of having a reflection. Alright, let's go up now to width and roughness. Width and roughness, you can, by the way, all those options here, you can also apply a texture. I'll show you later down here, which again changes the way your reflection will look. With roughness, let's just put this up to 20%. And you can see already what happens. It's starting to sort of blur out the reflection. So go down here, and I want to make the reflection again a bit stronger, brighter. 80. There we go. Alright, so if you render this, you will see this starts a little bit to look like a metal material. Okay, at this point it would be a good idea to actually hit the render button, otherwise we can wait a long time. Okay, as you can see, there's no difference at all. And the reason is, I'll stop this here now. It's important, this is a type of blurriness. Roughness is type of blurriness. So you gotta make sure in the option settings down here, general options, you need to turn on blurriness. Okay, so I tick this. Close that again, and we render. So as you can see, the surface is now, it sort of made it rough, the reflection. You can see you totally lose the nice floor reflected here, and here it's also starting to blur out. Looks quite nice. So it's actually interesting to see the difference between a round curved surface and a just totally flat one. Okay, so let's get back into this. So we used the width and roughness and made it 20. Now there's another one here called roughness. And to be honest, I haven't quite figured out the difference between it, because I have used both of them and they seem to do the same effect. So I got used to use this one up here, and I've been ignoring this. If anybody knows what it does, you're welcome to tell me. Okay, close this off. Reflection strength, we did cover this one. Specular strength, that's just you see the little white dot here, so that's the same with all the other settings, so it's nothing really special just for the reflection channel, so I'll leave that one. Bump strength, what I want to show you actually is layer mask as example. Let's add a texture to the layer mask. To show this off better, let's go back to 0 here, close that one, and we choose a texture, and we choose the checkerboard. So what happens here, you can see now it applies the texture map, and the checkerboard here, gotta find it, hang on a second, layer mask, checkerboard. See, this is at the moment the color is white and it's black. Remember, white is transparent, black is fully solid. So if I would change this here to 50%, the red color should change a little bit. There you go. So it's reflecting 50% now, instead of being, well, it's reflecting the same, but it's sort of showing 50%, but it's mixing it with the red color. You can also adjust the frequency. So as example 1, let's put this to 2, and you can see what's happened. It looks different now. So this sort of works almost like an alpha mask, the layer mask. I don't need this for now, so I will go back and we take this one out again. Let's go here, checkerboard, and whoops. And no, so I'll take this out again. Okay, before I change the type like Beckmann to another one, I do like to show you the bump, because that's an interesting one too. So you can see we can add here some texture or a mode. For me, I usually use this one. So let's go to the mode. I want to add a custom bump map, and that's where I add my texture. So I can use any textures obviously, but you can also use a procedural, and in this case maybe you choose a noise. Hang on, I want to go here. No, let's do noise. Noise is good. And you can see already what's happening here. Let's go and have a look. The strength is at 20. So let's reduce this a little bit down. Oops, not -4. There you go. So it starts to wave. So it's the noise we have at the moment. Okay, so if I go here, I gotta go there. Here you get a list of different noises you can choose. You choose one, then you just adjust the settings and go from there. But let's leave this one on the normal noise and adjust these settings a little bit. And a little bit stronger. So let's go back up. We got 4 and let's move it up to 10. That's a lot, isn't it? Doesn't need much. 6. Okay. And let's render this up. As you can see quite well now, that's what the Beckmann is doing. And the ball actually looks quite funny. It looks like a dented ball, and you can see here from the sky, you know, this probably goes down a bit where the blue is. So yeah, down dent. So like I said, this is actually quite good using bump maps to create different type of materials you're after. Alright, I think with those settings you can pretty much produce quite a lot of different different materials that have reflections. But there's another option. I mean, even metal you could do, but ARCHICAD has another option to actually create some metals. So let's have a look at this. So instead of adding the Beckmann, as we did before, reflection option, we add the anisotropic option. So what this does is it straight away goes into metallic type of material. So go down here and extend this a little bit. Okay, let's have a quick render and we'll see where we start, sort of have a, you know, as a starting point. Okay, that looks quite good as a starting point, but we got a couple of options inside that tool. If we go to the layer called anisotropy, so let's open this one, and you can see the projection at the moment is on none. You can change this to planar, or you can change it to a radial one. Let's change it to a radial one. Actually put this back to planar first. Great, and then we go to pattern, which is none at the moment. Let's go to a circular one. And you increase the anisotropy to 100. And we got to put in a scale, otherwise nothing shows up at the moment. So let's put in 20. Yes, that looks much better. Click OK and render this up. As you can see, it's actually quite nice to make. You see the circles here. So you can use this, obviously, kitchen counter as example, and other stuff. So that is quite nice having these sort of presets for metallic surfaces in ARCHICAD if you use the anisotropy option. To show this off even better, let's change the floor to the reflection material and the cube and the ball to, let's do it a wood, and render this out again. It will just show better up on the floor, you'll see what I mean, to get the actual metal pattern that ARCHICAD can produce quite easily. This does look pretty nice, but let's move on to the very important glass reflection. How do we do a nice glass reflecting? I think a lot of us use this almost all the time. So I'll show you how you do this material. Okay, if you watch the part where I explained the transparency channel, that's where I left off. And you can see it's nice and transparent, but obviously we have no reflection. So let's do this now. It is quite simple. You go to your surface channel. It's been text-based transparency material, transparency on. You just click this on. And obviously, as you saw before, we need to add an option. In this case, I like my Beckmann option. And for now, don't change anything. Click OK, and we render. As you can see, we added the reflection, see the chairs, you can see even here the roof from over here somewhere at the top. So that's all good. The next bit is you can see the glass looks very, how you say, milky, washed out. And that's because of the transparency settings. We got transparency settings here. Actually, in this case, it's the color of the surface that you start with. We got a white color. And that's a good little tip. If you change this to totally black, it stops looking so washed out the glass. I'll show you if I render this. I have not changed anything else but the main surface color we have from white to black. Okay, that looks already much better down here. You will see what I mean. If you look down here, if I change over, I mean, look at this difference. From all I did is I changed the white surface color, the base color we had in the white color, in the color channel white, to black, and I rendered again, and it looks way more realistic now. This is still a bit whitish, but of course we got a white back wall, and you can see it's only a blue sky in the back, so it doesn't reflect anything. Again, this is a white ball, it's all white, so that's why look, the top here looks still not obviously that good. So let me quickly add a quick background. And I change this wall to brick, and then render up again. You will see it makes a massive difference again. All right, let's make this look better. So I changed this white wall, I changed to my brick wall. Okay, and to get a good reflection here, what you do is, it's just an example. I added just a plain wall, and that wall actually has a reflection, well, a reflection image on it. So, whoops, there we go. There we go. So that's an image here. And I made it on purpose, the blue sky very long, because if I'm down here sort of looking that way, I wouldn't otherwise get all the reflection into my glass. It would probably cut out. So you do this. What's important with this one is that you actually select this, and I show you what I got. I've got here this background, and to make this background, well, almost like illuminate, I'll show you this later in another part, but for now, just quickly, I went all the way to the illumination, and I told it to receive GI strength. They're all on 100, and I put 1000 in. So it's much brighter. It might be a bit much. Let's put 500 in. Okay, so it's a bit of trial and error. So I close this off. So this image now receives a strength of the global illumination of 500, where all the rest of the model only receives the normal 100. So this should show a bit brighter, because you can see that we have the shadow coming from the wrong side. You see the shadow goes that way, so this image is in the shadow. You can, it's a bit hard to see now because it's lighter, but it would be quite dark. So let's get back to our camera view and render this up. Alright, stop this for now. As you can see, this looks already much better if you compare it to this. But I personally think it shows up too much the reflection in the back now. So the option you have is you can show the glass more transparent, so the reflection obviously is less, tone it a bit down, or vice versa, you just do less of a reflection. So let me try. See, this is now trial and error. So you have to go to the color. Which one do I have here? Sorry, I do have transparency. There we go. So that's my glass here. So I think the transparency what we have here, it's very little. I mean, it's quite a lot of transparency, but let's just increase that again. And we do a quick render, but let's just render out a part here. So use the marquee tool. And I just want to have a look at this. There we go. Oh, the reflection is turned. I mean, the reflection is the same, but the transparency is more transparent. So if you look at the chairs here, and we go to this image here, look at see the yellow here? Very clearly, you can see a lot less. And you can see more of the wall. So it's starting to get better. So look, I could work a little bit more on it, but obviously I think you understand that's just explaining the reflection channel, the glass, transparency together with the reflection. One more thing, maybe just a quick tip. Come on, let's do one more tip. Because the wall is quite white, that's why it still looks sort of a bit washed out. You could have pictures there, you could have some other stuff on the wall. To show you quickly what I mean, let's just change that wall inside from white to a brick, and you can really see the difference. Let's go there. Back to my 3D. Oops. Obviously all of it, and it's just ran out a lot, and you will see what happens, what I mean now with the reflection, the wash that is not as washed out. Okay, as you can see, it's getting more and more realistic. The more you work on it, I personally would turn down the reflection of the actual background, you know, the brightness a little bit more, maybe even the blue, take a bit of the blue of the sky out. Add a couple of furniture in the back, paintings on the wall, a plant in the corner, work maybe a tiny bit more on the glass reflection, and then you could be pretty happy with what you see. So, okay, so I hope you enjoyed this part of the CineRender surface material, which was the reflection. I told you it's quite a large one. And we go to the next one, which will be